I want you guys all to know, all of you hateful, misogynistic bigots, all of you, okay? All of you, okay? I want you to know something. You're a terrorist. Alright? I've had this up for like 2 weeks that I wanted to talk about it. But they actually changed what this said originally before I go into it. Before I let all of the misogynist, all the fellow woman haters know about this. It originally said, you see how it says extremist? They were using the word terrorist and then they changed it. And I'm just, because I kept this up in my tabs, or in my, thing. And see, to be treated as terrorism. See, it says it right there. Oh, you can't see it whenever I drop down my bookmark. Yeah, it says right here, extreme misogyny to be treated as terrorism, but they changed it. It doesn't say that now. So I caught them on that. Go me. So anyway, in the UK, this is the bullshit that they're trying to push, which is very comical to me. It will never not be funny that it's just like, excuse me, but there are men on the internet that hate women, and they say all sorts of misogynistic things. I don't know what kind of accent that was, okay? That was like, that was a Brit that wants some brekkie, okay? That's what that accent was. So it says Yvette Cooper, which is, I guess, this orange or red blazered woman here with her short fucking cunt hair, who vows to crack down on the promotion of hateful beliefs. They have changed this. I wish I could remember what that originally said. I think it was misogynistic terrorism is what that originally said. Women belong in the kitchen. For a second, Vlad, I know you typoed, but I thought it said the lulchin, like LOL chin, like kitchen, but lulchin. Guys, I might have a 99-degree fever speaking to you right now. Don't mind me, okay? So anyway, this bitch is very, very mad at men on behalf of other women who are likely probably not having anything hurtful flung at them. So, oh, Death, thank you. After stream and the movie tonight, I plan to crash out hard. So hopefully, like, plenty of sleep, and then I got the next 2 nights off. Maybe we'll be okay again. Oh, you guys. It's okay. Don't you worry. So, once I go into this and you realize how frivolous and pointless it is, they're just trying to police people to just be like, hey, you're hurting. Women are sensitive and most of the time neurotic, and you're hurting their feelings when you give them valid criticism online, okay? Because they are sensitive little creatures, okay? I would call them pure, but they're straight from the devil, okay? And you can't be mean to them. That is illegal. Okay, so it says, Home Secretary orders review to identify gaps in system to tackle extremist ideologies, including extreme misogyny. And as we go into this, you're going to get this sense that they're talking, like, they might be talking about the foreigners or the immigrants and all that have poured into the UK. You'd think that they would be talking about that, but they're not. So let's go into that. I want to read this little tidbit here. By the way, this is from The Guardian, alright? Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, said governments had failed to address the rise in extremism for too long. Again, this word was originally terrorism. When you hear extremism, that's what it originally said. I shit you not, guys. Terrorist. Okay, maybe I should change it from being an online extremist to I'm an online terrorist. The Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has vowed to crack down on people pushing harmful and hateful beliefs. They have rephrased this as well, including extreme misogyny, as she announced a new approach to fighting extremism. The Home Office has commissioned a rapid review to inform a new government counter-extremism strategy on how best to tackle the threat posed by extremist ideologies online and offline. Wow. The review will assess the ideological spectrum. It's a spectrum, guys. Is intended to address gaps in the current system that leave the country exposed to hateful or harmful activity that promotes violence or undermines democracy. Did that not kind of give you the fucking idea that they were talking about the rapists that have been flooding their country? Because that would have been more important, wouldn't it? Did you hear about the illegals trying to steal a school bus in SoCal? I did, like, an hour ago. I do have something where we're going to talk about the Venezuelan gang that took over an apartment complex, I do believe, in Aurora, Colorado. So, but yeah, I did just hear about that, which is fucking crazy. So fucking crazy. Anyway, undermines democracy, because keywords here, this is how you know that Soros is behind it. Undermines democracy. Undermines our democracy. Officials will assess the rise of Islamist and far-right extremism alongside ideological trends that have gained traction, including extreme misogyny. So what does extreme misogyny actually fucking entail? The scheme also aims to assess the causes and conduct of radicalization of young people online and offline. So they're basically going to get into people like Andrew Tate and anyone else that's just really telling you to think for yourself and not be a useful idiot for someone else. That you're basically corrupting the youth, and people like him need to drink hemlock tea, I suppose, is what they want. Cooper has previously said the last government's counter-extremism strategy was 9 years out of date. She believes the review will lay the foundations of labor to develop on its manifesto promise of preventing people from being drawn towards hateful ideologies. So there's two things happening. There is misogyny bad, protect women against misogyny. But as you see, it's all like a code for we need to practice thought control, because this is making people become right-wingers. Okay, or whatever the equivalent in the UK is. Dangerous material online. Responding to concerns that treating misogyny as extremism, it used to say terrorism. I cannot stress that enough. That is the words that bitch was using. As extremism could criminalize free speech. The Home Office Minister Jess Phillips told LBC, I don't know who the fuck LBC is, you just use the exact same test you would with far-right extremism and Islamism, wouldn't you? The same test would have to apply. People can hold views about women all they like, but it's not okay anymore to ignore the massive growing threat caused by online hatred towards women, and for us to ignore it because we're worried about the line, rather than making sure the line is in the right place, as we would do with any other extremist ideology. See, they just want, it's just more control free speech on the internet is what it is. Because women don't like for you to acknowledge that there is a mute function. Now, I understand that there's a mute and block function. I understand that there's cases, even I've dealt with them, where somebody is relentlessly trying to fuck with you, and you can't block them on everything. They just find a way to keep fucking with you, right? But they're not really talking about something like that. They're talking about, we need to stop letting the youth be corrupted. That's all I hear. My chest is so heavy with misogynists. Neo, are you a misogynist? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to think it's pretty hot if you are. Okay. So, where was I at? Blah, 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 blah. The MP for Birmingham Yardley, who has been open about the misogynistic hate she has received online, said social media companies are undoubtedly going to have to be part of the solution. Excuse me, big internet corporations. I have been judged and held accountable by men on the internet. You should do something about this. We need to police free speech because my feelings were hurt. She said, with the previous government's online safety bill that still hasn't come into fruition yet, but we're going to have to make sure that it is as robust as possible, because if my teenage sons watch something on the television, or I think she'd actually say the telly, on the telly, there is a far, far greater place for me to have that regulated and to know that let me give that up. To know that it can't be trusted then when they're in their bedrooms and I have no idea what they're looking at, and the level of regulation is considerably lower at the moment. So I can understand she wants to be a good parent. She's wanting to make sure that that their sons are not going to go like full Andrew Tate, because if you go full Cobra Tate, that's like a little cringe in my opinion. But she's also not saying it like that. That's not what she's saying. She's not being reasonable about it. I guarantee you. Last week, Dame Sarah Khan, who is Rishi Sunak's independent advisor on social cohesion and resilience until May this year, and acted as a counter-extremism, again, that did not used to say that, counter-extremism commissioner, said Theresa May and Boris Johnson said the Tory government had left the UK wide open to far-right violence by ignoring red flags and stoking fires with a culture war agenda. Really? In a damning intervention, she told The Guardian, "The writing was clearly on the wall for some time. All my reports have shown, in a nutshell, that firstly, these extremist and cohesion threats are worsening. Secondly, that our country is woefully unprepared. We've got a gap in our legislation which is allowing these extremists to operate with impunity." Again, this is because you went and called like a woman a bitch online or something. Or because like the men have the red pill place. That's what this is all about, okay? Which is really fucking nothing that's bothering her. Wait, they changed her title from counterterrorism commissioner? Yes, I believe so, because I do know that when I read this article a week and a half ago, terrorism was used heavily, and now it has changed, and I'm like a little miffed with these people for that. Because I wanted to make jokes and go in on how we're all just terrorists now. The UK is trying to deem us so. I mean, the US has already put the most of us on a watch list, but now the UK is just like, uh-oh, terrorism. So that's why I keep bringing it up, because it bothers me. Like, why? Why did you remove it? Cooper said, far too long, governments have failed to address the rise in extremism, both online and on our streets. They're not going to focus hardly at all on Islamists. It is bizarre to me that they even actually mentioned it. But that might be trying to look like you're doing something when you're not. We could all be arrested if we travel to the UK. Maybe. Online on our streets, and we've seen the number of young people radicalized online grow. How are they radicalized? What? Because they won't fuck woke bitches? Like, what is the radicalization that's happening? Because women are receiving pushback? Like, this it makes no sense. Hateful and incitement of all kinds fractures and frays the very fabric of our communities and our democracy. Action against extremism has been badly hollowed out in recent years, just when it should have been needed most. That's why I have directed the Home Office to conduct a rapid analytical sprint on extremism to map and monitor extremist trends. So they're building an intelligence group to understand the evidence about what works to disrupt and divert people away from extremist views, and to identify any gaps in existing policy which need to be addressed and cracked down on those pushing harmful and hateful beliefs and violence. This is not going to address Islamic terrorism. Guarantee you. Oh! This article replaces an earlier version from the 18th of August to 2024, which appeared under the headline, "Extreme Misogyny to be treated as terrorism under UK plans." See, I wasn't lying to you guys. In fact, such misogyny would be treated as extremism, not terrorism, under a planned review of counter-extremism strategy. The version published above includes further revisions and updates. I did notice that it read differently. Listen, Betsy Reed, fuck you. Thank you for reporting this. But yeah, so this is shit that's going on in the UK currently. So they admit to cringeful use of hyperbole. Yeah. Okay. So what else did I have up here? I've already forgotten. I procured all this like 3 hours ago, and then I started kind of getting the fever. All right, let's go. So anyway, we're all fellow extremists here, and this is a safe place for extremists. Fuck the UK government, and fuck Yvette. Look at Yvette. She's like, guys, extremist, misogynist people on the internet, we need to lock them up for thought crimes.